Welcome back to Portimao and the 13th Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. Now today is Friday and it's day 6 of the event. This morning, after a really nice sunny day yesterday, we greeted with thunderstorms, so not such a nice day for the end of the qualifying heats. Today all drivers did the third heat and right now they're in the drivers' briefing, those who qualified. Of course, tonight I will be joined by Tiff Chittenden. Tiff, also one of our media people here, who, Tiff, I know you have experience at the Grand Finals, but I think we'll hear from the pole sitters. I think there's a few sad stories today, so maybe you can also help us with this as we go along. Before we start, though, what I'd like to do is show you the interviews with the pole sitters earlier on this evening before the drivers' briefing, and then we'll have a chat about this. But changing weather, challenging, and a few sad stories today as they pack up the gear. Bruno Bolito now. Bruno, Portuguese driver here at home in Portugal for the Grand Finals, pole position for the pre-final. Did you think it was possible?
Yes, I think it was possible because we will be strong, and the kart setup was ready for the combat with the adversaries.
Some really good drivers out there. In the heat racing, was there any battle for first place? Because you won all 3 of your qualifying heats.
Yes, I think in the qualifying heats, all the drivers are intelligent, with caution, because the accidents will be caused
Reportage.
Yes, and I think we was a great qualifying heats.
I know in the first heat, the European champion Harry Webb managed to get in front of you, but unfortunately he was in a collision with the Canadian. But good for you, because you were sitting in 3rd place.
I'm lucky. He won lucky.
Yeah.
And I think Harry Webb is a great driver, but we will take the pole position for a pre-final, and I think is a good result for me.
Yeah. And of course it started to rain just at the end, though, of the qualifying heat, so you had all your heats in the dry, didn't you?
Yes, we have lucky the A and D group. And the qualifying heats, we are lucky in not rain, but the qualifying heat before after have the unlucky and start raining at the 2 laps to go.
It was a little bit of chaos.
Yes.
Okay, so congratulations. Now tomorrow, pre-final, on the grid, pole position. Are you excited?
Great responsibility for me, because the Portuguese people depositing me a lot of capacities, and I think it's difficult.
Yeah, but it's good racing and it's fantastic for Portugal also. I know you're from Viana do Castelo, where we had the last Grand Finals in Portugal, and now flying the flag, fantastic. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks.
So there we have it, talking to our pole sitter for the Junior Max class, Bruno Bolito. Now, Bruno was actually the qualifying pole sitter originally, has won all 3 heats, and now we find him lining up a local driver, pole position for the pre-final, Tiff. Right behind him, Josh White, who also was one of the heat winners, and then from Japan, Kazuto Katoka, if I say that right. Now, Josh Webb also, our European champion, won 2 heats, qualifying heats, but unfortunately, a bit of a shocker in the first one. So.
Yeah, he had a collision, I think, with one of the other drivers, but I think obviously the Portuguese driver knows the track very well, has advantage, but I think a few others, he did have 3 clean heats, and I think a few of the others, especially Webb, did have some problems. So I think he won his last race by quite a lead as well. So,
however, the others are quite fast, and when I spoke to Bruno, he's feeling very confident because he's Portuguese. He also has much support. However, from Holland, Van Galen, was also one of our heat winners. Was very fast, but also had some bad luck. So I really think it's going to be close tomorrow. But from the junior perspective, you know, these guys, not a lot of experience, but really, they are really, really fighting hard. And we did see a little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah,
I think in the first couple.
I mean, they all want to win, so there's going to be I think there will be some trouble along the way. But like I said, the Portuguese driver had 3 clean heats, and he's shown the importance of getting away and not getting involved in all of the trouble. And although Webb is really quick, obviously he did get involved in some trouble, and especially in the finals, you just can't afford to do that.
No. And of course, one that we expected to see up a little higher, Esmeyer. Now, was here recently. They had the Mojo Cup, and he won this race, feeling very confident, but a silly mistake, unfortunately, and he admits, yes, I made the mistake in the first heat, crossed the curb, a little bit slippery, and caused a collision, which saw him take a penalty. Now, he's dropped realistically from third, where he should have been, theoretically, down to P27. However, I spoke to him just before we came up for the interviews, and he's also looking forward to the pre-final. He says, I can get there, I can make up some good places, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the finals are quite long, and the prize is for the grand final, not for the pre-final. So we have seen people come from the back in the pre-final to the front, and then the finals all to play for.
We had this with Caleb Williams a couple of years ago, and he started on the back row and came away with the title.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, now talking about coming through from the back, in Senior Max, we spoke to the pole sitter, who also won all 3 heats, and who was also the qualifying pole sitter. And this is Pierce Lahane, who celebrated his 17th birthday yesterday. So we'll have a listen to what Pierce has to say, and we'll have a bit of a chat about the Senior Max class. Pierce Lahane, 3 wins from 3 in the heat races, so pole position for tomorrow's pre-final. Did you think you would have it so easy?
No, I didn't. Tough competition out there, so it's been really great to be able to get 3 heat race wins, so I'm really happy with that, yeah.
And what about yesterday? We had a gorgeous sunny day, and the heats were all in the dry. Then today, a little bit of a change.
Yeah, yesterday, being on my birthday, couldn't have asked for anything better, 2 heat race wins. Then we woke up this morning, and like it is right now, it's pouring with rain, and unpredictable conditions, yeah. Yeah,
so you're on the grid, and of course, the rain came down just when you were about to go out for the 3rd heat.
Yeah, it was about 4 minutes before we were going. The gate shut, and we had all the slick set up on it, and then we had to do as much as we could with the cart to change it over to the wet setup. And we were one of the lucky ones that actually got through the gate. There was a lot of people that missed out on going out in that heat, so we were really fortunate, yeah.
Now, of course, in the last heat, I saw you lost the lead there for a short time.
Yeah, Jordy Van Moorsel on the first lap, I left the door open and he come up the inside like any good competitor would. So that's something else that when I got back out in front, I made sure that I defended my position on that corner well, so yeah.
Of course, with so many drivers, it's split into 2 groups. And tomorrow, all the best, the top 34 come together for the pre-final. You're starting on pole. What's your expectation? What do you think when all these guys come together?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we showed all weekend that we've got the capabilities to win. So if everything falls in place and I do my job properly, I'm sure that we can come away with the win.
Now, of course, we've seen you on the podium before, so are you feeling confident going into the last day, Saturday?
Yeah, I'd just love to stand back on the podium again. 1, 2 or 3, it would top off my year, so it would just be great.
Fantastic. Congratulations and well done. Very good.
Thank you very much.
So there we have it. Pierce Lahane telling us how it is and how it was, and feeling, quite relaxed going into the finals. But Tiff, he knows he's really got to push because the competition is really, really close.
For sure, he's shown again that 3 clean heats will get you on pole, but at the end of the day, those people are still right behind you and next to you. So I think in seniors, it's so close. You're going to have some people coming from the back, a few people that have had collisions again. So he probably is not going to have a really nice night's sleep. But
no, and behind him, P2, Ferenc Kancha from Hungary. Now, Ferenc was third 2 years ago in the grand finals. He was only 15 when he won the got third in the senior max class on the podium. So Ferenc is really quite experienced also as a junior before he went up into seniors. And of third, our Irish friend Charlie Eastwood, who has really been quick the whole week.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't think it's even those three that you've got to watch out for. It's going to be the top 10, and one scuffle at the start, then it's anyone's game to play for. It's going to be so close.
Of course, Harrison Scott, who also was in the top 3 at the Euro Challenge this year. So he's sitting there on the second row next to Charlie Eastwood. Then we have Ukiosa Sahara, last year's junior champion at the grand finals. And of course, next to him, Ed Brand, probably the unluckiest driver ever in the grand finals until this week. But he said, I'm going to turn it around.
I think so.
Is it possible?
I spoke to him earlier as well, and always before the grand finals have gone so well for him up into the final, and then they've gone wrong. So maybe now that he's not on the front row, he's at 6th, he can calm down a bit and take his time, and maybe his luck will change.
I have a feeling he's hanging back a bit because every time that he's on the front row for the pre-final, he ends up...
Something goes wrong, So I think he wants to change his luck. So I think he's trying to do anything he can.
And, you know, this year also he was a runner-up in the European Championship for Rotax. So in Senior Max, I don't know, it's really a tough one if you had to pick someone. But, as you said, there's been a little bit of carnage there that's caused a few people to be really disappointed through the repechage or not making it all. A couple that we can name, I guess, Alexander Finkelstein and his teammate yesterday missed the gate. It was really simply a mistake that the mechanic looked at the wrong heat and thought they were in the next one. And so they just missed the gate. But today, both came through the repechage. Finkelstein, really, I think he's one really to watch. Now he's fast today, but he's very, very determined. And the French team are all behind these guys. So... And I don't know, maybe there's someone else that you think is one to
I know
watch.
Sean Babington from the UK, he started last on the repechage and came through to 5th position, had an absolute awesome race. So again, he has been struggling this week. He's not just had bad luck, he's been physically struggling with speed, but maybe the wet weather helped him out. But it was a great drive, and like I say, all they need to do is do that again in the pre-final, and they're up there for the final, and that extends our list of people that we could put our money on.
Well, when I look down the sheet, you know, James Singleton also, who was a front runner, won the last event, the Rotax International Open in Spain. He also won a heat. Oliver Hodgson, also of the UK, won a heat. But it's going to be a tough one, really.
Yeah. If I had any money, I definitely wouldn't bet it on this race.
No, and I think, to be honest, that Sean Babington was probably one of the luckiest guys today, coming from the back. But I was watching the repechage, and P5 and 6, and the first 6 go through. They actually collided. 2 laps to go, and Sean just cruised on by.
Yeah.
But still, we don't have official results as yet, to be sure, the grids. But for sure, he will be there if he can be there. And again, one to watch. We'll see what happens. So, on to the DD2 Masters. Now, Tiff, as a former British DD2 champion, this is probably more your class. And not saying that you're a master or even close
yet.
to being a master, but for sure this was close. We'll have a look at the interview with our pole sitter, Cristiano Morgado. So in the DD2 Masters pole position, Chris, how was the racing? Chris Morgado.
Yeah, it went really well. I'm really grateful to my team for giving me a good setup, and like a lot of good drivers out there, so I'm just really happy that it went well.
I know it was really close when you came in. I think Scott Campbell was a little bit disappointed because he knew that you beat him for pole position in the pre-final. But how did the racing go from yesterday? We were in the dry, today we're in the wet.
Yeah, yesterday was fine. I had a win in a second place, and then today it rained, so everything changed. Everyone was running around, and thankfully had a really decent pace. So had a bit of a gap, and I'm just really happy and thankful that it went well.
Now, of course, last year you won your second world title, and of course the defending champion here. You feeling any pressure?
No, I mean, right at the beginning, I just wanted to be able to attend one of these things, and I'm still pinching myself that just being here is a real prestige. Like, I'm very grateful just to even be here. So to be able to do this well, it blows my mind, and I'm just I'm humbled to be able to to do this well, and just I don't know what to say. I'm just every day I'm surprised and thankful that it's gone this way.
Is it difficult to get here now? Do you think the competition makes it more and more difficult?
Yeah, I mean it's super tough everywhere. Even to get on the SA team is tough, and it's a lot of driving the whole year. And so I know I just every day just just happy to be here. And
How many grand finals now, Chris?
I'm not sure, but it's probably sixth one.
Yeah.
So definitely happy about that.
Okay, now your expectation for tomorrow, going into the pre-final, you're in the pole position. So what do you think? We bring all the best drivers together now from all the heats.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's great to be on the first position. Makes things a bit simpler, but the race is quite a few laps and there's a lot of overtaking places, so that doesn't really guarantee anything. So tomorrow's another day and we'll do our best and God willing, have a great finals day and we'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll all be watching live on the internet for all your friends out there.
Yeah, so hi to everyone and thank you.
Thank you. Of course, always good for a chat, Cristiano Morgado, and I think it sounds like he's really, really grateful that he can actually be here. For Chris, it's been many years, even from the Max class, that he's been there on the podium and, of course, the top step. Our defending champion in the DD2 Masters, and saying, it was close, but it's going to be tough, but I'm really just happy to be here. He loves to be here. He loves the racing.
Yeah, I think he's an excellent example of someone that's gone into cars, moved away from karting into cars and has come back because at the end of the day, karting's what he loves to do. It's close racing. It's the more racing you get for your money as anything. So, yeah, he's a really good example, and I think a good example to the younger kids that maybe karting is a lifetime as well. It's not, you don't just have to move to cars.
And I think from when Cristiano was here with us at the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, we've had so many South Africans. They're probably leading the way in the points, I think, for how many have won and how many have been on the podium at the Grand Finals.
And we also, in Masters, have so many world champions. I mean, I think a lot of people concentrate on the senior class and the juniors, but the Masters is so full of so much experience. I mean, there's, I think, over 6 world champions, ex-world champions there, all fighting for it. Yeah. So, they know what it feels like to win, and it's going to be such a close race, I think.
Yeah. Well, right behind Cristiano, beside him on the grid, but behind him in the points, 1 point behind, Scott Campbell. Now, Scott Campbell is actually 9 times at the Grand Final, so I think more than any other driver in the history of the 13-year event.
And I spoke to him and he wants to do it 10 times, so he's nowhere near given up yet.
He was really disappointed. He came in after the last heat and he said, "Oh, no, Cristiano won and I only got 5th. Damn, 1 point." Already he knew, okay, pole position, I want this, I need this. David Griffiths, also from the United Kingdom, starts on the second row next to Martin Pearce, who's also been to quite a few grand finals and been on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, the experience is just unbelievable, and also they're quite close as well, I think, the group, because in one of the heats I saw between Morgado and Campbell, they were shaking hands after, and it was only a heat. So although they're shaking hands now, I'm not sure if they'll be shaking hands this time tomorrow.
No, I think they've been there and done that when it comes to the racing, and they love the racing. It's so close and so much experience. Now, of course, the first 2 rows, Morgado, Campbell each won 2 heats, and then Griffiths and Pearce won 1 heat each. So realistically, the guys who should be at the front are at the front.
Yeah.
But behind this, Mika Salo, not Mika Salo, but our Mika Salo, and of course Florent Lambert, who almost took pole position in qualifying.
Yeah, it's not disappointing to be where he's starting, but I think he may be because he did show a lot more speed in the qualifying, but I think he just needs to get his racing sorted out, and again, he'll be up there. Okay,
so DD2 Masters, once again, you going to pick someone, or you think there's
the smart money, probably Morgado. He's been there, done it. I mean, I know they all have. I'm not sure, having spoken to him, if he's holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think he might have a little bit more in him.
He did actually say, I've had a lot of racing this year, so I think he's been slipping a few races in somewhere else that we don't know about. However, flying the flag for South Africa and coming into the DD2 class, once again, one of your friends, Ben Cooper. So let's have a chat with Ben. We'll see what he had to say a little bit earlier after the race. Last year, Max champion, you've won it twice. This year in the DD2, but you've just run away with all 3 qualifying heats. So is it difficult or easy?
It's definitely difficult. No races are easy. The 2 races in a dry were quite close, and I had to really every lap push and make sure I kept the gap, whereas in the wet, a bit more comfortable. I love racing in the wet. Up until the World Finals last year, every race I'd won for 2 years would have been in the wet, so I guess I should live in the sea, really.
Now, of course, you've had only a short time to get used to this and adjust to the DD2, but is it more interesting, more fun, more aggressive? How do you feel about racing from one class to the other now against the best in the world?
It's definitely harder. When I jump back into a Rotax, I can do easily over an hour in the kart straight because it's not as physical. The DD2 is much more weight. We've got the engine on the axle, so it's much harder to work the kart. I've had to actually start training for karting and started mountain biking in Canada just to get fit for the karting and for the DD2. And everybody in DD2 are there to win, and the competition is just as hard as any other class. And DD2 is a very much underrated class, and I urge people to come and try it, and they will enjoy it.
I'm sure there'll be a few challenges that say, I can beat Ben next time.
Hopefully so, I like to.
Now, expectation for tomorrow, going into the finals, all the competitors are now sorted. There's a second chance race this afternoon. What's your own expectation, knowing what it was like yesterday if tomorrow it's dry?
It's going to be tough. No races are ever easy. If obviously I'm on pole position, so I can dictate the start and hopefully get a little bit of a gap. And if I can get a gap in the pre-final, I can manage the race, save my tyres for the final. And once again in the final, if I can start at the front, get a gap again, and hopefully we'll have another win on the hands.
Sounds like you've got it all worked out already.
It's never worked out. We're just that's the ideal goal.
Okay, so good luck tomorrow. Well done. Congratulations. It's been great racing, so we'll be looking forward to it, and well done also to the team.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, there we have it. Ben Cooper, who absolutely loves driving the Rotax DD2 now. Of course, coming from the Max class, 2 times world number 1, and saying, yeah, I'd like to be 3 times, but I'm enjoying the DD2. He's the Canadian champion this year. He also won the Florida Winter Tour in the Max. He is really, really
He's on a roll.
Exactly. And the last heat in the wet, 8.5 seconds was the lead.
Yeah, Ben was an ex-teammate of mine, and I know what he can do in a kart. So, he's got to be confident because everything he's won this year. He came to the last round of Euromax and walked it. And obviously, the competition that we thought he would have in Pierre-Luc Ouellet, the last year's world champion, that hasn't. He's really suffered today, so Ben's got to be the favourite. He loves senior Max, but I think he's really, really grown and really clicked with the DD2 as well.
Yeah, he said it's a lot more physical. He's had to do training and prepare himself for this. But apparently yesterday in the dry, he said it wasn't really so easy. You heard me say, did you think it would be so easy?
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But, it was easier in the wet because he likes this. Is that anything to do with the UK, that he lives in the UK, that it's always raining?
Everyone thinks that everyone in the UK is always good in the rain because it's wet. But I actually raced DD2 when Ben was my teammate and he raced senior.
Yeah.
And he always said it was easy and DD2 was easy.
Yeah.
But I think he's coming to realise that it's not so. It is quite a physical class. They have sticker tyres, not too bad, but and it's a lot more to think about. So
Also the front brakes.
Yeah,
That's
also,
something else.
We have the front brakes on the foot, but we can change the bias with our hands.
Okay.
So it's not like the seniors where you have the brakes on your hand,
Yeah.
but obviously there's the gear changing and when to change it. Just because it's 2 gears doesn't make it simple.
Yeah.
It's the different places you can change it, and obviously when you're fighting and racing, also remembering the gears because you launch up the inside of someone, you've then got to think about the exit. And he's still got some good competition, but obviously...
Yeah, well, I think, Simon Wagner was one of the guys that was quickest also. He also won a heat, Zenderuva, and, of course, Kevin Ludi.
Yeah.
So
They're all strong, but at the end of the day, Ben knows what it's like to lead a world finals. He knows what it's like to lead from the front in both his grand finals that he won, and I don't think you can beat that experience. All the others are really quick, but I think when it comes to leading the grand final, the last couple of laps, Ben's going to have that edge because he knows he's been there before.
However, a few people in the paddock beg to differ. Simon Wagner out of Austria, joining him on the front row, Zenderuva on the second row, and next to him, Nicholas Latifi. Now, Nicholas this year has been racing, and I believe won one of the Formula races in Italy, jumping up into cars, but very, very confident in the kart coming out of Canada. Again, Kevin Ludi's off the third row with Henrique Baptista from Portugal. So, I don't know if he's going to have it so easy, to be honest.
I think winning a grand final is never going to be easy, but Latifi is best, definitely is going to cause him some trouble, but they are very pally walking around the pits together, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last this time tomorrow, but for sure Zenderu, he's very, very quick in Europe, but sometimes when it comes to the racing, bad things happen, and at the end of the day I think you do make your own luck sometimes, and Ben knows. I think the biggest competition we thought Ben would have was Pierre-Luc Collet, and he was actually in the second chance today.
Yeah. Well, I know he went out with Patrick Pearce, and Patrick got through the second chance race up to third from midfield. So the luck went with Patrick and not with Pierre-Luc.
Yeah, I spoke to Pierre-Luc after the second chance, and he didn't make it through, which is a massive shock. He's 2 times world champion. He's last year's champion. Yeah. Basically, I spoke to him and his mechanic, and they don't really know the issue. They know it's an issue with the engine. They've not been fast enough all week. They've changed engine, but in the second chance to start off with, it was going well. Good. He started last and he came up more than halfway through, and everyone thought this was going to be the charge of the.
Do you think perhaps the weather has played any part in this? Today is quite a nice day. It's really windy. It's been so cold and really, really so much water. Yeah. Lots of rain.
He just said halfway through his engine just had no power, so it might be that it got wet. And the trouble is, obviously it rained, but they didn't have a lot of time to practice in the rain.
No.
So it was normally if you have a day to practice in the rain, you know the issues, you know the setup. So it probably is something to do with that, but. Yeah, Pierre-Luc not being in the final was a massive, massive shock.
However, there was another driver off the second row in the second chance race, Antoine Lepescu. Now, Antoine is the official Sodi kart driver in the class. Last year, he won the Rotax International Open, and this year has been quite competitive. Now, also at the start, he had a problem, pulled over to the right, and that was it, So he kissed it goodbye, but he was also feeling like, it's this close. Yeah. A little bit of bad luck, but I can do this. And I think also the weather affected him when it came to the final.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand how they feel. They're going to be absolutely gutted. And I think having to speak to Pierre-Luc, they're probably going to be experiencing a few drinks later on to try and drown their sorrows.
But they'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Supporting Ben Cooper for Canada. Okay. Now, Tiff, before we leave, this is our, I guess, more serious side. And tonight a lot of people are feeling quite nervous. But there's some other little guys that are feeling a little bit more nervous perhaps, but still really, really enjoying the fun of racing, big racing, with the big boys. And this is our Micromax class. We went out in the paddock a little earlier and had a bit of a chat to them, looked around. Spanish-Portuguese mixture of kids that have come through from the Max Festival. So we'll have a bit of a look, and of course, led by Josh Hart, also a former vice champion in the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. Josh here helping the Praga team. Of course, we have our Micromax racing for the first time ever at the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. And someone who's been at the Grand Finals and on the podium, Josh, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the difference between the Micromax package and, say, our junior kart.
Okay, well, obviously the chassis itself's a bit smaller. It's a lot shorter and more narrow for the smaller kids. Obviously, the seat's smaller to suit the smaller kids. You got more adjustment with the pedals to bring back to suit the kids. The brake system, again, it's a more scaled down version of what the senior kart used, so it's a less aggressive braking as the karts aren't going so fast. Then you move over to the engine. The base of the engine is the same, but this is a more restricted version. So they got the different exhaust, which restricts the power, and then a smaller radiator, and also around the carburetor there's another restrictor which takes away a bit of horsepower for the kids.
Okay, so then when you look at the main difference, in speed or in tyres or whatever, it's all keeping it quite a lot slower.
Yeah, obviously the kids are quite young still, like a lot of them are under 10 or younger, so they need to be going a bit slower, and the tyre is also the new Mojo tyre that they're using. It's a little bit less grip. And the lap time from the senior, they're still only 11 seconds slower, which is not bad for 9-year-old kids.
You think that's the lap time they're chasing?
Yeah, I think that's their aim.
Okay, and so far they've had a couple of sessions on the track. Today they'll have the qualifying. What do you think?
I'm a little bit excited to see it. It's we see what happens. Like you say, it's the first time at the grand final to have young kids, and as you can see, they're all very excited to be here and be racing with the best in the world watching, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity for many of them.
And of course, like I said, you're someone who's done this as well, grew up with karting and made the podium, and so who better to help them than Josh? Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're one of the drivers who live in Spain, racing for the first time in the Micromax class. How is it to be at the grand finals here?
I'm quite nervous because I never drove in that high level that is here.
And what do you think about the other drivers? You think there's some good drivers, good competition?
Yes, there's the one out there are in the top ones. They are the good ones because you can't trick here.
What do you mean?
Alex Simmons.
You can't trick Alex?
No.
I like race, but I do anything. I like race for I do. I like.
We're here with one of our little drivers just before they're about to go out for some practice in the wet. Frederick, you want to be in Formula One?
Yes.
Is that why you're here at the grand finals? Maybe. Tell me, how is it racing against all these good drivers from Spain and Portugal today? Is it fantastic? Is it good?
It is very fantastic.
And what's the best thing about being at Portimao? The racing or the grid girls, or what do you like?
The friends.
Lots of friends. So lots of fun there, and for the kids, it's all good, and they want to be Formula One drivers. But I think they really just enjoy having fun.
I think, yeah, you see them around the paddock, and they're all holding hands and on their scooters. And I mean, I spoke with a few yesterday, and they're so keen, and it's so good to see.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the racing is great, but it can get too serious sometimes, and people sometimes forget what we're here for and the spirit of it. But when you speak to them, it just go. They love it and they just go crazy.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great concept to bring the Micromax drivers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the racing. Today I had qualifying, so I'll be catching up with a few of them in the morning before we go on the grid. So yeah, it's going to be good. And as far as tomorrow goes, presentation of all the drivers, pre-finals and finals. Now, Tiff, I know you've been working on the DVD, and we'll be looking forward to that. The official Rotax DVD of the 13th Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. When can we expect to see that?
It should be out soon, in about 2 months maybe. So we've been speaking to all the drivers, also the organisation, so a little bit behind the scenes on how we got here and what's been happening.
Of course, we can't see you on the beach or on a camel this time.
No,
like
definitely not.
In the past.
No, maybe another surprise though, but no beaches or camels, thank God.
Okay, but you're not going to let us know what exactly you've been doing?
Not exactly. You have to watch the DVD.
Video. Yeah, wait for the DVD, and we'll catch it also on YouTube. But in the meantime, tomorrow we will look forward to joining everybody live on the internet. Our live broadcast from in the morning, all the racing, the driver's presentation, perhaps a little bit of fun, if we can find that fun factor with the kids as well, and hopefully some really nice weather. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're on Facebook, send us a message, send Tiff a message. We'll be watching, and yeah, it'll be great. Thanks, Tiff, for joining me.
Thank you.
We look forward to finals day.